don't smile.
Oh, no. You should always smile. Right? The reason being is that when you smile, you actually generate serotonin from the brain. The serotonin is the hormone, it's the feel-good hormone. Okay.
What does a grumpy old git like me want with a feel-good hormone?
It's delicious. Serotonin, if you get serotonin going into your bloodstream, it makes you feel good. Also, if you smile, you actually generate serotonin, which makes you feel good. So it's a delicious.
So does beer and having a fag make me feel good. I'm a grumpy old fuck. What do I want with serotonin?
Smile.
Fuck off. A minute into the programme. Good afternoon, people. United Shoes, David and I having a wee dispute about being grumpy old bastards or no.
Oh, dear.
Anyway, David, good afternoon, Thursday. You know what that means? That means along in that parliament there was a Punch and Judy show that you don't watch, so I suffer it for you.
Yeah, I like commenting on it, but I don't like watching it, to be honest with you.
Nah, to be fair, near they are. But Broadcasting Scotland puts it out, so I'll watch it.
Right, let's do the people that are in. Let's see if we can get some of them. You carry on, Dale. You do it, because me, I run into problems with that.
Right, let's see who's in the house. Well, at this point in time, there's 50 of them. Martin Hibby, Ice Ninja, Francis McKenna, Alexandra Rutherford, Robert LeBruce, Stephen Bankier, Scott Haynes, Ellie Butterfly Effect. Hi, Ellie. Rosie McGregor. You seem to be saying hello to each other.
Yep.
I'll go back down the field a bit because that's all the early birds all chatting to each other.
Hello, you twat.
Right, Desiree's in. Craig's in. Craig Dooley. Tina Chalmers for Dundee's in. City Flyer, good afternoon. Stuart Crockett. Harry Bendix. Leipzig. Nathan McAllister. William Watson. Hey, Reg Fairbairn. Ali's in. Laurie's in. John Baxter's in. Julie Brown's in. And right down the bottom, Ian McNeil. Hi, Ian. And Jim Soralper. And Sir Larry's just come through the door. You're within the first couple of minutes, Larry. We'll let you off with a naughty step, but next time that's where you're going.
I can actually saying that. How do.
Right, anyway, let's get to the slagging match of an own in Hollywood today, shall we? First up is that fucking half-wit Russell Finlay.
Yes.
And he went on the Institute for Fiscal Studies, the so-called reputable think tank. Notice I said think and not think. Anyway, the reputable...
Sorry.
Fuck off, serotonin, you. Anyway, he goes on their fiscal report saying that we can't afford our public services. Now, to be fair, John doesn't fucking smack him out of he'd very obvious. Because what these opposition politicians like to do is treat you, the viewer, as a fucking idiot. You see, by law, folks, under the 1998 Scotland Act, Scotland must run a balanced budget, so it cannot have public services it cannot afford.
Absolutely, yes.
So when you hear people like Russell Finlay telling you that our services now and in future are no affordable, he actually said they were, the SNP were taxing the people to death. But that's beside the point. Just remember, folks, when these fucking idiots are telling you we can't afford the services we have, well, we must be able to afford them because we can't have a deficit. We have to have a balanced budget by law. So we better go on to the next fucking half-wit. Second up was Poverty Pie Anna Sarwar. And as usual, he was chasing ambulances. Actually, he's promoted himself to chasing fucking hospitals. And he berates the SNP, who don't build hospitals, they just commission them, for building shoddy hospitals in Glasgow, Edinburgh and Aberdeen. And then he goes on to say, think about the victims and their families. So John just fucking smacks him one and says, listen, you spanner, if you've been keeping up to pat, you'd realise that on the public inquiry into what's happening in the QA, we created a side group headed up by a university professor who specialises in public health to oversee the work of the inquiry to make sure it's no bias and that it's properly informed. So what John did, because Sarwar keeps bleating on about how these people are being left out of the procedures here, John instructed the inquiry to hire somebody, come up with an oversight group and appoint the parents to the oversight group.
Yeah, so in actual fact, it makes absolutely doubly certain
Yep.
that inquiry is absolutely bang on.
But David, it means that these parents can then go and tell other parents, look, we were mistaken.
Yeah.
You know, because when we get to it, we're fed up telling people politicians don't build hospitals.
They don't.
What a politician knows about water purification, what they know about air purification, you could write in the back of an air freshener or
we have a situation whereby, according to Mr. Sarwar, the SNP put undue pressure on the Queen Elizabeth Hospital to get open, and that's what caused the problems.
But right? As we know, that was actually the board members that did that.
Yeah, and the board members, 9 of which were Labour politicians.
Yes.
And also Glasgow was run by Labour.
At the time, yes.
At the time, Labour, when they get a vote, they didn't count the number of votes, they count the weight of the ballot papers.
Yes.
So it's at the end of the day, that was Labour all the way through, right? Oh, there you go.
Right. Next up was Gillian Mackay, and we're going to have to explain that to the silly young lady again.
Gillian, I had you explain this before, and I don't think she's silly at all.
Well, we better let me explain.
Yeah.
I better tell people what the question was. She was asking why John hadn't kicked the Yanks out of Press Week. John then has to explain to her all the devolved legislation he would need to break in order to do that. And as he's constrained by the 1998 Scotland Act, that defence, aviation, and all that shit is reserved. And Miss Mackay was insisting, but you could do it anyway. Actually, what John can do, and you and I have been looking at this, David, what he can do is he can restrict where the US can actually have their personnel in relation to
he could create a work to rule.
Yes.
Actually create a work to rule.
He could basically restrict
the contractor that deals with the Americans
and nobody else
is dealing with just them, and that's it.
And they're not allowed to leave the contractor's spot on the site. That's about all they can do. Yeah. But Miss Mackay seems to think that John's willing to go to jail to kick the Yanks out because that's what would happen.
Miss Mackay is playing politics.
Of course, yes. There's an election coming, David.
Election coming, isn't there? Yeah, yes. There you go. And nothing would delight them more than have the First Minister have all of his time taken up fighting an unwinnable battle.
Yes.
Who else is doing that? Israel and USA. Israel and USA are fighting an unwinnable battle, and that's where they're taking the lead from. They won't.
Alexandra, I'm very happy that you have emailed her because that was a bit infantile, the question that she asked. It was. Aye. She would perhaps do better than an infant nursery, and that's a member of the Greens. No happy with that. I think Alexander's a member of the Greens.
Right.
I might be wrong, but it was childish, David. It was tight childish. And when he explained to her why he couldn't do it, she was stamping her fucking feet.
No, but it's not childish. It's politicking.
It's also listen. We don't expect people on our side to treat the public like fucking idiots. Right. Anyway. There was a couple of interesting supplementals. I don't want to spend too much time on First Minister's. Got a lot to get through. The first one came from a Labour MSP, Mark Griffin, who was asking John about the effect of American tariffs on Scottish industry. And he points out that a plant that's been here in North Lancashire for 50 years under 2 different big company names is going to have to close because the parts that they make generally end up in the American market. And that is Volvo Rootbock plant, 2.5 miles that way from my house, 120 people in this area will lose their jobs. Plus the supply chain. For example, the firm that my wife works for, they provide the cleaning for the building. They will, of course, lose the site and lose the jobs because the plant's to be closed. It's not going to be taken over, it's going to be closed. With a loss of 120 jobs, highly skilled jobs, that is, engineering jobs.
Yeah.
So, and of course, there's other things in the supply line. There'll be caterers, there'll be suppliers of the materials they use to make the parts, all that sort of stuff. You're talking not just 120 people here, you're talking maybe 1,000 if you take the knock on all the way along the line.
Well, we're starting to get some economic information come down from the people of America, whereas they're saying that the tariffs in America are being paid 90% by the people of America.
Well, the wholesalers are going to soak up their fucking tariffs, are they?
Yeah.
They're going to pass it on.
Pass it on, yeah.
And the other interesting, do you know, we had 3 stupid questions today, and one of them came from SNP MSP. One of them came from Stuart McMillan. And
Stuart can be a weird flaky at times.
He was fucking definitely flaky today, David. He was asking the First Minister if they could regulate the types of businesses that operate roundabout train stations so a fire like the one we had in Glasgow couldn't happen again. And you're saying to yourself, Stuart, if you actually had a look at the sort of businesses that run a fucking major transport hub, you knob. Hotels, restaurants, cafes, fast food joints, fucking cigarette selling news agents. Jesus, Stuart.
Well, seemingly from what I hear, the Central Hotel has kitchen facilities that go in for miles, seemingly according to a chef that used to work in there. So you can imagine that anytime there's a kitchen, it's a risk. Of course it is. It's a fire risk. There you go. But unfortunately, lithium-ion batteries, when they go up, they just continue to burn and burn and burn and burn.
Pete, I'm sorry to hear that.
What's this?
Oh, Pete's been offline for a week. I had noticed that he wasn't there, right? And if I'd seen the other Peter there, and they've seen Pete's music there. He's been offline. He's been in the Forth Valley Hospital, complications with his dialysis.
Oh dear.
So he was out here for a week, but apparently he's home now and things are back on an even keel. But as I say, what sort of stupid question was that for Stuart? You know, but as you say, he can be a bit flaky, David, he can.
Yeah, he can. In the past, he's come up with some flaky stuff.
Aye. Sometimes you have to want to sit down and shut the fuck up, Stuart.
He used to be on my timeline. And to be honest with you, I can't remember what I barred him or he blocked himself. Or,
I don't know. I think he got elected, did he know? And that's why.
No.
Right, let's move on. New UK government report says internal migration within the UK sees Scotland 160 million quid per annum half, David.
Yeah, okay. As we were discussing, it's a double-edged sword. We have one of these people that come into Scotland that help Scotland's economy win, obviously. But also you've got a situation whereby
how will they vote?
It's up to a referendum and there's a vote. They're going to vote to stay within the UK.
Yeah, let's go a better line what the report was, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, I actually suffered with that in reverse. I was down in England.
David, I'm going to have to explain it first before we get to the part where you explain it.
There you go.
Right, anyway, folks, a report out for the UK government says that rather than putting people off coming to Scotland or having people flee Scotland, Scotland's more progressive tax regime has seen since 2017 an increased influx of people from the rest of the UK. And of course, they're coming here for the better social contract. And for that better social contract, they're willing to pay a couple of shekels more in their income tax. Most of them will be on the mean average income like myself, so won't be paying any extra or that much extra. But I make a year about 33, 35 grand a year. I might be paying a wee bit extra than your average. If I remember right, I might just be up a band. So, but You know, the great thing about the people coming in, David, the increased amount of people coming in, hi Charlie, is that obviously it's boosting the tax take here in Scotland.
Yeah.
The downside is it's a double-edged sword, just like you said. How would they vote when the big question comes up? They're happy to take the advantages of, while in Scotland within the union, are they willing to help Scotland go further by helping us exit the union? Well, we know that English Scots for Independence is a massive group. Let's hope they're getting a grip of these people coming in each year and are getting to talk to them, because they are the best people to talk to them.
The only bit of experience I can give on that is when I lived in England, which I lived in for 18 years. And I heard about the SNP sort of like rise and push towards creating an independent Scotland, right?
Of course,
I got very, very worried about that, because I thought, oh hell, if Scotland becomes independent, effectively it'll go away from me. I'll lose my
Scotland. You cut off, yes, you felt you'd be cut off.
And I think, in actual fact, the same in reverse happens to English people that come here. We've all got an upper mind. We can all figure out that it's a load of nonsense, but the actual feeling of it is dreadful at the time.
Sorry, folks, we've got a gate crasher, but you'll no stay long, don't worry. So, what does this quote tell us? It tells us that the push that Russell Finlay was coming away with in First Ministers today about the rich fleeing Scotland and the workers being fleeced by the Scottish tax scheme. Of course, John's going to remind them what he already knows, that Finlay sod, that actually your average worker in Scotland pays less than they do in our UK, because the average worker here is on the minimum wage. Well, the Scottish living wage mainly, actually, which is about 71 pence better than the English minimum wage. I think the Scottish living wage here is about £13.50 an hour or something like that. It's getting there.
Yeah.
Hi, Witchy Golf. Hi, Diane. Nice to see you both there. Right, let's move on. Believe it or not, Reform UK Party of the People, this is going to crack you up, and it's going to crack everybody up, David, had their party conference today, David. And where was it that Lord Alford decided would be the best place to hold a conference for the common man?
The Clydebank Town Hall.
No.
So you get people in? No, whereabouts?
The exclusive Bishopton Country Club.
That's dreadful. That means that if you don't pay the £3,000 subscription each year for that,
you're not getting in.
No getting in. Oh, you get in as Martisa.
That's it. There's a handful of Reform UK supporters there who have been invited personally by His Lordship, the press pack, and you're right, the ones that invited will get bow ties, trousers, and trays. Talk about rip the fucking pish.
Champagne, sir. Champagne.
Bunch of multi-millionaires posing as ordinary men, Farage with a fag and a pint, Lord Alford. He can't even be asked on that low. He uses a country club for his conference. Now, unfortunately, David, I haven't seen anything come out about what came out as Gub, but I already know what's in their manifesto. I wrote it down. But we tell the viewers what it is.
I read Alford's philosophy, and I was heaving up.
No doubt. Anyway, item 1 on the Reform UK Scotland manifesto: mislead the people to try and get into power. Number 2 on the manifesto is blame non-whites people. No matter what it is, just blame non-white people. Number 3, if they get into power, steal as much as possible. Number 4, hide from public, especially constituents. Number 5, blame non-white people for everything they've stolen. Number 6, stop the boats. Number 7, when they fail to stop the boats, blame non-white people. Folks, that's Reform UK's Scotland election manifesto.
Well, to be honest with you, it's like, yet again, here we have a situation whereby don't like giving them much airtime.
I know that, David, but
we're giving them a position above their station. They are way above their station. And in fact,
David, I'm afraid you're wrong. They're sitting second in the polls here.
it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter.
It is. And
still a minority group in that.
And they're leading in the polls in England.
Yeah. Fine.
So I'm afraid they are worthy of speaking of, even though we don't want to. And I'm with you. I don't want to talk about them.
Yeah.
I also don't want to talk about another campaign launch that went on the day, but I'm going. Because both the campaign launches that are happening today stink, and both their manifestos read exactly what I just read out to you, except for it'll be noped up in fancier looking words.
You talk about rebirth?
No, I'm no. We'll get there.
Right, go on then.
Right, anyway, next. 2 bills went through Parliament this week. One was successful, one was unsuccessful. One we predicted would fall, and the other one, probably, unless you're a punter, you wouldn't know what was going through the Parliament. And when you find out the circumstances behind the second bill, you realise it was a very easy one for them to pass. Anyway, first let's start with the assisted dying bill. It fell by 69 votes to 57 votes, and it looks like the presiding officer abstained.
Yeah, all right.
Now, what's unusual about that? Nothing. Normally, the presiding officer will only cast a vote when they're in a tie-break situation.
That's right. That's why the presiding officer is important, because if you've got an even Steven situation of whatever to whatever, then the presiding officer has to effectively cast a vote that says what it's going to be. Something like that, you know. But it was obvious. I don't think politicians are voting for a particular thing like that, like the assisted dying, is the answer.
Aye.
And the problem is,
better policy cares the answer, David.
The problem is that you take it down the road of, say, we have a referendum where the people vote for it, right?
But yeah, David.
Yeah, let me finish on here. Let me finish this, right? It's like, yet again, you've got a situation like Brexit, whereby the population haven't taken on enough information, are not wise enough, if you like, sorry, I'm talking about collectively, to make an informed result in this, right? So at the end of the day, it was Tuckle Crichton that made a good point on debate night when he said, you've got somebody in a family that is maybe an invalid, and they're getting towards the end of life, but they've still got another few years to go, I reckon, right? And they could look at it from the point of view personally of thinking, I'm just a millstone round the family's neck. And that's the awful situation you've got that we're talking about. Right. Where it's a personal situation where somebody thinks, I'm going to say yes. Get rid of me because I'm a millstone around somebody's neck. And that's human nature. That's human nature, and it's awful. It really is.
It is, David. And there's no point to do it with this bill. If in the past, even though it's got narrow parameters just now, more and more groups would demand that the parameters were widened to include. Now, Maria, can you clear this up? Are you saying it was 180 quid a pop to go to fucking Reform UK's conference today?
Oh, they need the money. They need the money, obviously.
Well, definitely not a party of the people. Right, Stephen, that's enough. You threw a good few quid in the pot today, and I know that your circumstances. Right. But thank you very much, Stephen.
Thanks, Stephen.
Wow, 180 quid to see Malcolm Alford. Fuck off. Anyway, to say the second bill to go through, David, now that we know that the assisted dying bill has been shelved for 10 years, apparently.
Yep.
Was the banning of racing dogs in Scotland.
I remember I used to come across top floor of the 50 bus going into town from Pollock, where I lived, on a Saturday, and you used to come across the top of where Ellen Street police station is now, and it's like you used to see the droves of people heading for White City Greyhound track.
Aye.
Right, and it was massive, absolutely bloody massive.
Well, the last Greyhound track in Scotland shut last year.
With Sheffield, didn't we?
Aye, we'd quite a few. We'd Shawfield, the one at Bailison, and the last one we'd one out at Bannockburn, and we had one. We'd a lot more than that, but the last one to close is Staunton Stadium.
I did the radios for.
And Kirkcaldy get closed last year.
I had the radios for Shawfield, and the chap that owned it was a guy called Billy King.
Thanks, Alexander.
As you can imagine, Billy King was well named for the family he came from.
Billy King. Oh, that was Billy Smart, the circus. We're not going Billy King. Anyway, so there's no gambling, well, there's no dog racing happening in Scotland or Wales anymore. Scotland is now the second country in the United Kingdom to ban greyhound racing.
Yep.
Because apparently, according to people, animal welfare activists, they said it was a cruel sport and the dogs were treated badly.
I actually saw that. Happening.
You were telling me earlier.
I'd one I was working away fitting speakers in a place and I kept on hearing this noise. And eventually I saw him open this cupboard door and out came this greyhound doing its head off, getting taken down to race. And that's what they did. They locked the dog in a cupboard ready for that night's meeting.
Aye, in the dark, terrified, so it was ready to spring.
Aye, and when it came out, boom, yeah.
Oh, so Glenrothes Thornton belongs. Is it? Well, according to the news report, it's Kirkcaldy. But I'm not going to argue between Glenrothes and Kirkcaldy. They're more or less grown into each other now. You know.
What's this? What are you talking about?
Thornton Stadium. I'm being told by Jim Sorrell, but it's actually Glenrothes. Well, the report said it was Kirkcaldy. But the two of them have almost merged into each other now anyway. They've almost grown into each other. Okay, let's move on for the two bills that have been through the Parliament this week. And David, this one's for you. All right. And this is going to do with poverty pie, half-wit, and really disgusted me shite. Anna Sarwar, who also launched his campaign yesterday on a digital conference. And a photographer got in front of him to snap a picture. And he said, I hope it's better than the last one. The last one made me look as if I had a stroke. And of course, that wasn't fucking funny, was it? That went down like a lead balloon.
At the end of the day, it's like I could get really, really angry about it. But yet again, I just think to myself, it's like if I get angry about
Thanks, Roger.
that gives Salwar a station he's not entitled to.
No, it does.
You know, I just want to just go, no, get away from me.
Right, before we move on, because all these super chats are coming in, folks, as I said, right after this morning's programme, jumped in the car, down to Motherwell at the bank. I don't know if you can read that. You see the 250, and it went to Islay Food Bank. Right. Just so you know. So that's this month's donations out the door, David. Right. So we'll no need to worry about it next month, where it gets even harder again when we go into the Highlands and Islands. But it's got to be done. And then I think we're going to go to Orkney and Shetland this time round, no, David? When we get further north.
Good. They're part of Scotland, you know.
Yes, I am trying to be as inclusive as possible. But you know what it is with food banks, David?
These good people are part of Scotland, you know. So
I know, but David, when you think about food banks, you're thinking about major population areas.
I know.
You realise that poverty is just as rife in rural areas.
That's right.
You know. Right, where were we? Aye, so what do you make of Sarwar's remarks?
It's just, to my way of thinking, yet again, it just shows that Sarwar is a bit of a sad character. When he's having that laugh and a joke like that, do you remember Gordon Brown? He was in a crowd, and this woman got him in the crowd. He got in the car, and the radio microphone that was on him was still on him.
It's going to be on an old bigot.
Yeah, and that's right. And at the end of the day, it's like that did not play well at all.
Well, that's how they played well.
He's just been stupid. Yeah, to even think things like that, not good.
Anyway, the Chest, Heart and Stroke Society Scotland were right on his fucking neck with a pair of fucking pair of tacky boots, weren't they?
Yeah.
And they were pretty angry. And what they had to say.
To be honest with you, I don't need them to get angry. I just need people at Scotland just to show their disdain as regards Labour. Seriously.
Aye.
You know, we've seen Labour to death. We really have. We've seen what Labour have done from Westminster. Oh my goodness me, the stuff that's going there. We saw what Labour did when the 2014 referendum. My goodness me, for Labour MPs to go about scaring wee women into voting no, and all this stuff, and then the high five and their Tory counterparts.
Aye, in Curlin, if they lost that referendum. Let me address this for Witchy Goth, will you?
Go on in.
Witchy Goth, it's no David and I, it's you guys, the audience.
What's that?
It's the online community. She's saying, well done, that's awesome, getting the 250. We're doing 750 a month at the moment, Witchy Goth, 3 different food banks.
No, Witchy, don't listen to him. It was me, I gave it a moment pocket. I did that hell. Is this law you see on the side of the thing?
David, Witchy Goth is an absolutely fascinating YouTube channel as well.
Yeah.
Absolutely fascinating. And she's a very interesting person, as Witchy Goth. But no, it's not like Witchy. It's you guys, the audience.
That's right.
And gears, and we keep telling them, you are great, you people.
We're in a really, really lovely position whereby we get to choose who gets the money. That's the important thing.
Aye. You know? And we're also in a lucky position that the audience actually knows David and I. And for all the years they've known us, we've never wanted to make a penny out of the campaign, and any money we have raised, we've given it away because we don't need it. And even if we did need it, we're not taking it because we're in this on principle. We're in it to win it.
That's right. Plus, if I'm in jail for the next 14 years, I need money for, you know.
Aye.
When I'm in there with my hell,
you can't go to the state hospital for lunatics.
23
That's why I have to go to Bar L.
23 stone Barbara with mascara and you see a
Larry Cap.
Milligan, you lucky bugger.
Yeah, it's a Larry Cap. Mr. Milligan did it honest, gov. Aye. No, wouldn't the bright side? You've got a comfy room in the state mental hospital. I'm going to have to go to fucking Bar L for 14. I'm going to have to get in there with the real criminals. Whereas you're going to have to get in there with the real lunatics. I don't know if I'd like to swap places with you, actually. I know you'll fit right in, though.
Because I like the warmth of rabbit holes, that does not make me a lunatic. So there you go.
No, it does not, David. You're right. Right, okay. Let's move on for Anna Sarwar and his dumb gob upsetting a good few people. And by the way, Mr. Sarwar, just so you know, while you're on about the kids who died in the Queen Elizabeth University Hospital, 3,811 people have died of stroke so far this year, you fucking muppet. Where do you think they fucking died? Huh? Fucking arsehole, you man. See, underneath that suit, there is a really disgusting wee man.
I know. Don't get angry. I'm just.
Yeah, I come into hospital to see you. Every fucking day.
Best thing that could possibly happen is that we just, as a people, as a population, we just show our absolute.
Spurn them. Just spurn them.
Yeah, that's it. Turn our backs on them.
That's exactly what we need to do. See him in the street, turn your back on him.
Yeah.
Tries to talk to you, turn your back on him. Let him know what a grubby wee character he is. A liar, deceitful, horrible, poverty-paying little man.
I wonder what kind of reception Gordon Brown gets. Because Gordon Brown, as I told you, was just as bad.
Yep.
The way he was towards it.
Hiding under a flash suit.
Yeah.
Thanks very much. See, Putin has an increase in his war funds due to Trump suspending the oil sanctions for 30 days. Yes, Scott, I did see that. Thanks.
Yeah, yes.
And we will get there. Anyway, actually, we're there.
In actual fact, Putin's learned to sing in English. We're in the money. We're in the money. Yeah,
Ian, if we end up in the neck, don't worry, Ian, we'll not be needing money. Don't you worry about
Don't
that.
just.
They feed us 3 times a day, and I think I'll be allowed a 2 or 3 snout a day, so I'll be fine.
I would imagine, I hope that somebody would have the knowledge, is it, to be able to take over our position on this Two Davies show and continue the money going out to football and baby bags.
Aye. If you get the clink, Witchy, you and somebody up here is going to have to take their show out to make sure this money still goes out.
That's right. Yeah.
All right, that's you tell. So if we get to jail, we need a couple of volunteer presenters to keep it going so that the food banks can keep getting money. Right, anyway, let's get to the conflict and how it's affecting people here in Scotland at this point in time. The UK government has laid on 53 million to cover 1.5 million households UK-wide who have to heat their houses by oil. They have no other alternative. Like out here, it's either electricity, oil, or gas stored in tanks out the back. A couple of neighbours that use heating oil. Heating oil, we had petrol prices, they were up at 16 pence in 12 days, okay. But we hear this. Since last month to this month, heating oil prices went from 67 pence a litre to 147 pence a litre, or £8 a gallon to you and me.
That's more than double. More than double. And the problem is that the companies that provide this, they're not the massive companies you would imagine. Some are small players, right?
Aye.
And you would imagine that some people will be able to get some kind of contract whereby they can pay monthly for the heating oil, right? But the other people out there,
they have to pay cash in hand because they don't have a regular income.
That's right. And you figure out, there's one situation I heard of on debate night where the person said that I had to pay £700 upfront.
Aye.
Yeah, a delivery. Aye. You know, because the minimum delivery they were doing was 50 gallons.
Yep.
Yeah, 50 times £8.
Aye, roughly £8, 7 quid.
Yep. So.
Aye. Aye, it's no cheap. Anyway, the UK government's laid on 53 million to cover 1.5 million households.
Yeah.
Runs about 35 pence a gallon off.
Yeah. So
the Scottish government said that's not enough because they get 4.6 million for the UK government to distribute to households in Scotland, 140,000 of them. Believe it or not, the place that's got the highest number of oil-fired homes, Northern Ireland, because they had a bit of Weezer there with a scheme, didn't they? A heating scheme. Yeah. Anyway, half the people in Northern Ireland heat their homes from heating oil. But as I say, it's 140,000 here. The Scottish government says, thanks very much for your 4.6 million and threw another 5.4 in the pot. So the 140,000 people who heat their houses by oil here will get about an 80 pence taken off a gallon.
Right. So if you figure if the number's gone up from what to what, it's gone up 67 pence up to 143 a litre, right? So if they're taking how much off? 80 pence off?
About 80 pence will be high.
They're about even, Steve. They're about the same as they were before.
Aye.
You get that money going in. So
see, with the UK government scheme, it's about 35 pence off a gallon. So if you take the fact that the Scottish government's doubled it, then some, maybe even take £1 off a gallon.
What actually happens in reality is that people that are providing the oil.
Aye.
Well, that's 35 pence. We'll scoop that. We'll raise the figure by another 35 pence.
Well, the longer this conflict goes on, David, things are going to keep accelerating. As that strait stays shut, 30% of the world supply of oil and gas, and then of course we've got what's going on with the infrastructure in the Middle East right now, thanks to the Israelis and an attack on an Iranian gas field, the biggest gas field in the world, actually.
That's right. And in response to that, what the Iranians did was they
Hit the
fired,
other side, didn't it?
they fired on Saudi Arabia.
Yep.
They bombed the biggest oil something there is, and also they bombed Qatar,
Right.
the gas fields, right?
Which is the other half of which is about a wee smidgen of the biggest a gas field in the planet. The rest of it belongs to Iran. So they just popped to the border and blew up the other side's supply. Now, what's interesting about that is the Iranian supply is still getting through the Straits of Hormuz.
Yeah.
Whereas nobody else's is. Yeah. Anyway, so we're putting in an extra 5.6 and doubling what it is the UK government's giving citizens elsewhere. Not just is it a good strategy coming up to an election, it's bloody necessary. It's colder here. It's further north. People burn more heating oil.
That's right.
So when it comes to these things, well, we're in the union. Surely the politicians in that road have the wit and wherewithal to say, okay, the ones in the southeast don't need it so much because they're not burning all summer. But the ones in the northeast and northwest, where it's bloody cold, maybe need this help a wee bit more.
They're not interested, David.
No, of course they're not. It's not beyond the wit of man to be able to work out a fair scheme, but it appears it's beyond the wit of Westminster.
Yes. As with the tariff charges for electricity, we produce this stuff, and yet we're paying more per unit than anybody else is.
Right.
Simple as that.
Hold on, David. Better let people know about this one because there's a big crossover for the audience if us and Reagan Elite, because most of the people who watch Reagan Elite watch us. Anyway, apparently there's a round table on the night, which I'm not going to get to hear because my phone's on the blink again, so I'm on an old phone and I don't have anything on it. I don't have a single app on it. Ah, well, I don't even have Facebook on it anymore. I wiped that off it. So, Reagan Elite tonight, folks, 8 o'clock, apparently he's holding a round table. All right.
On what?
On YouTube. On YouTube.
Yeah, on what subject?
I don't know. It's a round table. He's going to have 3 other presenters and they'll probably talk current affairs the way you and I are doing it. Except for they'll be marrying him. Oh, I see you there, young Reagan. Sorry, I'm not going to get here and talk about it. I'll watch it and watch back tonight, mate. Okie dokie.
Ellie's put up one that you like, David.
What's that?
I have a nice smell of fresh cut grass.
No, for me, thanks. I've got hay fever. I developed it when I stopped smoking the last time.
You were taking your antihistamine.
Aye. So, the actual cost of the war in the Middle East is starting to affect absolutely everything here. We're only talking about petrol prices and we're only talking about heating oil prices here, David.
And here's the thing about it, right? Unless it's brought to a close, it's only hitting the start of it.
Aye, we're only hitting the start here. We're talking about £2 a litre here, folks, pretty soon.
That's right.
And of course, folks, what you have to remember is when the cost of fuel goes up, the cost of everything goes up respectively. Because if it's costing me more to haul it to you in the back of a fucking truck, I'm passing it on to you. Well,
straight away, you're talking about the amount of damage that's been done to Saudi, the oil fields there, right? It's like, and they're still talking about $150 to $200 a barrel. That's now easy.
Aye.
It's easily counted.
And so, Larry, you're right. Because of the way we now produce electricity, we need to uncouple the price of electricity from the price of gas because we don't use gas turbines to make fucking electricity anymore. Well, especially here in Scotland. We have only one turbine left that doesn't run off or one generator left that runs off of fossil fuels, and that's up north, and it stays there just in case.
Yeah.
Oh, I think there's another. That's not true. There's another one on the islands in Orty to power. Aye, Peterhead, and there's another one in Lewis and Stornoway. I don't know what the situation is in Orkney or Shetland, actually. I haven't looked. I believe the Shetland's running mainly on renewables.
They are. Yeah.
I can imagine the Orkneys would be pretty much the same.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping to get up to visit the islands in the summer this year. But we'll see. Right, let's move on. Second party to have its manifesto launched today, Kemi Badenoch. And she says that no juice can the Tories fuck everything up, apparently they can fix them. And that we will have a choice, or the people of England will have a choice, at the local elections, where there'll be 137 councils out of 317 holding elections.
You can imagine, you must have said, not only do we know how to effectively fuck everything up, we also know how to fix it.
Aye. And Stephen, could you please refrain from talking about illegal substances on our thread? We don't want to be sanctioned. So, no skinning up joints, Sir Larry. Stay off the crack, Stephen. Typical party in the UK. The Irish bring the crack, the Jocks bring the drink, and the English bring the trouble. Anyway, let's move on. New Mandy scandal comes to light. Apparently, in the Epstein files, it shows that Mandy have an insider information into an EU bailout and feeding that information to Epstein before it was announced, gave Epstein probably an edge in the financial markets during the 2008 financial crash. So what was it that naughty Mr. Mandy did this time round? Well, naughty Mr. Mandy told financier Jeffrey Epstein 24 hours before it was announced by the European Bank that the European Bank was going to issue 500 billion of a bailout for the financial crash, which meant
quantitative easing.
Yep, quantitative easing, which meant that Epstein and his buddies got a chance to offload their euros at a higher price, because when you issue that amount of money into the market, David, you know, it undermines the currency. It lowers the value of the currency. So basically, Epstein and his pedo cronies had the heads up to ditch their euro assets at a higher price than what they were going to get a couple of days later.
Yeah, it's interesting you should say that, because at the moment there's been a large number of people that have, not large number of countries that have offloaded their American debt.
Aye.
And that should have sent the American dollar into a downward spiral.
It most certainly is, yes.
And it hasn't done that. I looked at, I took the pulse of the American dollar against the British pound in January of this year. I did the same just last night, and it's made 1 penny of a difference.
Aye.
Back in January, the price that you would get for a dollar was 74 pence for each dollar, right? Now it's 75. So in actual fact, dollar is costing them a bit more. But that's only a penny difference.
Right, Neil, you know the way, but I haven't lit the candles. It's a bit warm this afternoon, so you're not going to burn your arse. Look on the bright side.
And you'll wear up your O and your P and your S key on your keyboard, so don't do that.
Right, let's move on for Mandy. Cyprus, the leaders of both sides of the divide in Cyprus, call for and on the UK for discussions to remove UK colonial bases from the island.
Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, it's a bit like Spain. Spain asked for the Americans to remove all their bases, right?
Yeah, that was after.
And eventually they did. They removed, right? So it's just the same.
Just in case there's any young people in here, back in the 1970s, 72 or 78?
72.
70, I think 72. The Americans they had nuclear weapons based in Spain, pointing at the Iron Curtain, obviously. For young people who don't know what the Iron Curtain is, look it up. Anyway, while transporting one of them there by plane, it dropped in the prairies in Spain and went off. It was a fucking disaster. So the Spanish then asked the Yanks to get to F. It took them about 6 years to clear off.
Yeah. In actual fact, you look at Spain, you'll see that the most important thing is all of the main conurbations of Spain are all around the coast. In the centre of Spain, it's not there's nothing there, but it's just like the population is very, very low.
You made that question. Would I be in favour of one world currency which we all would use? Nathan, I'm going to have to break this to you gently, sir. That's already in place.
Yeah. Is there one world currency? There is there.
Yeah, no kidding.
And in actual fact, okay, there's maybe only some.
Nathan, to let you explain it to you, the paper stuff you've got in your money is not the real stuff. The real stuff's the digits on the computer.
Yeah.
The paper stuff in your pocket's just to give you the idea that you've got something of value.
That's right.
So we all use the one currency, and that is the currency of the digital currency. It fluctuates depending on the individual currency strengths, but it's still all the one currency, really. So basically, if you want to take the idea of a pound and a dollar and a euro out here, and just think along the lines of which market's worth more, and that'll tell you basically what the currencies are worth at any one time. They do fluctuate, but basically the currencies are based on the economy of the nation, no the paper it's printed on, because it's digital, with a few adjustments for value.
The one that you're going to see, I mean, Britain's right for it, but the one you're definitely going to see big changes on is America. 38.9 trillion is their debt.
Aye.
Moment, right? And we're looking at the end of March as being another time when they'll have to have another vote on whether they increase their debt ceiling. That'll then take them well beyond 38.9.
40 trillion odds of debt, at least 41, 42.
Yeah, what's been happening for the last while is that more and more figures within Congress in America have been voting against it. They realise that they've got to go through some pain. Otherwise, they're going to be suffering with what's called hyperinflation.
Aye.
You know, if you want to find out what hyperinflation is like, look up the history on the Weimar Republic, and that's the case in point, if you like, on hyperinflation.
Willie, nothing's based in gold. The bricks are no backed by gold. Nothing's backed by gold. Gold's an industrial commodity these days.
Yeah, we do know.
It's also pretty to look at and make jewellery from.
Yeah, we do know that China and Russia were busy putting.
They're stockpiling it, David.
Yeah.
But when you look at the electronics industry and the amount it goes through, you know, gold and platinum and silver, all in there.
Yeah.
But no, gold's not a monetary value anymore. It's just pretty. Although it's expensive to buy, it's not really money anymore. It's just pretty. Yeah. Anyway, let's move on. David, we've only got a couple of minutes left. So, what do you make of Trump's cognitive decline?
Definitely something wrong. It was even brought up by James O'Brien and LBC the other day there.
I never seen that.
And he was actually put out some clips of where Trump was talking, and you went, "Oh, there's something that's so wrong with the man," right? And at the end of the day, it's like he's suffering with dementia, I think, right? Yeah, and I think really the people that are running the USA is the cabal of criminals that are round about him.
Aye, Stephen Miller.
They give themselves power now, right? And at the end of the day, it's like you've got Hedgesworth, you've got Exeter, and you've got Vance, and you've got people like that, right?
Aye, you got Stephen Miller unelected. You get his boy, Trump's boy.
They throw a bone towards Trump, something that he can not get on about.
Really.
And he just talks. And it's just shite that's coming out. Simple as that, right? Whereas they are the real people that are doing it, right? And they are in it. They're in it for what they can get out of it.
Aye.
And when you actually look at the phrases that are coming out, like if we win here, we win in Iran, and we'll control a large amount of the oil in the Middle East and all the rest of it, right? And they're talking about we'll be in the money, we'll have lots of money, right? In actual fact, the USA, USA is rolled out. Definitely. That's another one of our predictions. Apart from the 26th of March at 10:19,
Well,
what no conference on Starmer.
no, that's all right, David. We're only a week away. We're waiting.
It's still
Now,
double.
what I would say in Trump's cognitive decline is what's making it more and more obvious is his outbursts and outbreaks and his attacks on what he considers his allies.
You know, he's saying, "Oh, we've already won. In fact, we've won that many times. We don't know how many. We don't know what to do with the other wins, right?"
Right, that's a peacemaker talking about winning all these wars that he allegedly made sure that they go ahead in the past, you know.
Yeah.
You listen to him 6 months ago, he prevented all these wars. Yeah. Listen to him today, he won all these wars. Yeah. You know, this is what we're talking about with cognitive decline. But the other thing is, the Wise had a pop at his allies, starting trade wars against them, and then expected them to jump to his aid.
Yeah, again, what's the Scottish phrase? More to be pitied than scolded, right? At the end of the day, it's like he is not the one that's pulling the strings.
No, I know.
But that's why behind him, something like that.
I think his stepson Byron's pulling the strings with this Stephen Miller guy and Pete Hexus, because Byron insisted these guys were put in place.
Well, Hexus, all he was anchorman for Fox News.
Aye.
And before that, he was National Guard.
Aye, he was a French correspondent and all for a wee while, wasn't he?
So at the end of the day, it's like now that guy is the Secretary of War. Sorry, probably legally called Secretary of Defence, but he's Secretary of War. He calls himself that.
Aye, that tells you what sort of bully tactics that this criminal cabal.
That's a mindset. That's a mindset.
It's a mindset of the criminal cabal that is parading
just before
an administration.
Just before we close up, there's something that I heard prior to coming on board, and it's from Al Jazeera, so it's from a decent source, is that we now are seeing where Iran, the Iranian foreign minister, has been visiting Oman. And Oman are actually dealing as the intermediary between the USA and Iran as a back channel to deal with negotiating a peace. And yes, to be honest with you guys, I know you.
David, we need to clarify something here for the viewers. Yeah. Iran's not going there asking the Americans to come back to the table. Iran's going there to lay down their conditions.
That's absolutely right. Yes, I appreciate it. Look, I know that the majority of people here have looked at what Israel have done with Gaza, and you think, well, you know, they may or may not deserve what they're getting. Right enough, the picture scene of Tel Aviv, my goodness me, it's Gaza. That's what's left, right?
Right.
But America, the whole way about the American military is that it's just bullies. It's a big kid on the schoolyard, basically tearing people apart. Something like that, right?
Nothing to do with the military. The military's perfectly professional. I've worked with them. It's got to do with their political leaders.
The rather interesting thing about that, with the military, is we've now got whereby a lot of military people within the military-industrial complex are saying, "I am not going to die."
I'll let you deal with that, and I'll round this one up. See, independence.
I'm not going to die for Israel.
No.
Right? So,
anyway. Right. David, say bye. I'm going to kick you out and round this one up.
Bye, guys. Time for independence.
Right, you wait after the door. I'll hear from you tomorrow. All right.
Right.
Right. Bye now, David.
Right. Bye.
Right, folks. Obviously, he's going to see to that. So we'll round this one up as at 16:59. I want to thank everybody for your kind contributions to the Food Bank Fund today. That means that next month we will be able to go to the Highlands and Islands and distribute the usual 3 grants of £250 a pop to 3 food banks in the islands and the Highlands, because people are suffering in rural areas as well. And in fact, it's getting worse for them, especially with heat and oil prices going up. All right. Now, I want you to thank you all for your kind contributions. Thanks to Reagan Lee and any other YouTuber who's there lurking which you got. It's always nice to get mutual support from other content creators, because I like your channels too, guys. So it's nice to have you here. And everybody else, I'll see you all at 10:30 tomorrow morning. Those who are on the naughty step, sorry, that side, may now get off a naughty step and go about your business. Eyes on the prize. The prize is the 2026 Holyrood election and an SNP majority. Okay, thanks to the moderators for moderating. Hit the like button on the way out the door, folks. It helps the algorithm. It's up to you if you share this video or no. It helps as well, the algorithm. And don't forget, 8 o'clock tonight, Reagan Elite's YouTube channel. Just type in either Snowflake or Reagan Elite. You should be able to find it. There's going to be a round table tonight with Darren from the Daily Blaze's channel. And one angry pagan who also has a YouTube channel down there. And Devon or Dorset, I think it's Dorset. So look these guys up, give them a subscribe, give them a like, and send me what you got. Look it up, give it a like. Very good, quite entertaining, and pretty knowledgeable on contemporary issues. All right, bye for now, folks. Enjoy the rest of your evening.